Hey everybody, we did it! We are on Friday today, and I'm so excited to get another week off our list. Take a look at this parent letter. We are on our iReady reading section 2, lesson 2, but oh my goodness, look how many days we have left, you guys. We're just crossing those days off. I'm so proud of you, so let's keep going strong and let's not give up, and let's finish this week strong today, okay? So go ahead and flip to your reading, section 2, lesson 2, just to make sure you're on the right place in your reading today. Now, I wanted you to look at the table of contents because remember we're on section 2, lesson 2, so we're on pages 37 through 38. So flip through that in your book. I just want to make sure if you're feeling a little confused or if you're not sure where to go, this way you know exactly where we're at. So I know it says lesson 17. That's why it's really important that you guys follow the table of contents and you look at the page numbers so you can see right where we're at. So today, boys and girls, we have a new mini lesson that we're going to be talking about, and we're going to be looking at informational text. But more than just informational text, we're going to be looking at how text features, and specifically maps and pictures, can really help us as readers understand more about what's going on in the story. Because sometimes in a nonfiction text, you have just the picture of the map, and you have to find information just by using that picture. We use the words that might be underneath it, around it, but all of those things help us as readers figure out what is going on in the particular story, in the article, and it helps us understand. So I love this title. It says connecting words and pictures. So connecting, there's our connection sign. We have to take those little words and the pictures to form, hey, what's this author teaching me about? So I actually have our little anchor chart poster today. I'm going to zoom out because we're going to really focus on maps. Now take a look at this map. A map is a picture that shows locations or places of things. Now this happens to be a map of, it's called the Ring of Fire. And you can see the Ring of Fire, there's the United States. I know it's kind of small. And there's South America, and it dips down, there's Australia, and then there's Asia. Now, maps can be tiny. It could be a map of your bedroom. We did a lot with maps before school was out. It could be a map of a country. But a map is a picture that shows where things are located or the place of something. And maps help you as a reader, see where things are at. Like I'm going to zoom in on this map picture so you can see a little bit better. If you see a little dot with a circle, that's a volcano. Plate boundary, Ring of Fire. And the Ring of Fire is home to many of the Earth's volcanoes. This is called a map key. Remember when we studied these? We did a lot of these in social studies. Well, today we're going to be looking at a map in our reading. So look at this page right here, okay? It's from a booklet about campgrounds at a lake called Pleasant Lake. Now I want you to think about something. What do you learn from both the words and the map? So right away, there's actually some words or like a caption right underneath the map picture. Here's what it says. At Pleasant Lake, you can enjoy boating, fishing, and water skiing and swimming. The lake is located 15 minutes from Mount George. Campsites are available. Call 111-1212 now. That's what the words say. Here's Pleasant Lake. Mount George says it's about 15 minutes away. I see 10 miles, and I see boating, fishing, water skiing, and swimming. So I'm looking at some of these symbols here. I see some trees, which probably means the forest, fishing, the lake, boating. I imagine you can take some boats. Looks like canoes right there next to the dock. Water skiing. And camping. So camping could be, it looks like a camper, or this is like a little teepee, but it'd be like a tent, right? So you could get a camper or you could do tent around the lake. So look at the question. What do we learn from both the words and the map? Wow. Well, first of all, I learned how many minutes it is from Mount George. I learned all the things I can do, but in the map, I also learned, look, the directions. If Pleasant Lake's here, Mount George is northeast of Pleasant Lake, right? I can learn a little bit more about using the picture. So for this next page, it says think. Look again at the page from the booklet. Complete this chart to show what you learn from both the words and the map, okay? So what the words tell you. So words are going to be here. Map is here. So what you can do at Pleasant Lake. It told me what I can do at Pleasant Lake. Boating, fishing, water skiing, and swimming. That's what the words tell me. But what does the map tell me I can do at Pleasant Lake too? What do you see from using the map? What are some things that you see? Do you also see pictures of that? So I'm going to actually write a little bit more. What does the map show me? It shows me, look, it shows me where I can put my tent or my camper. So I'm going to do a bullet point here. Shows me where I can put my tent or camper. What else does, move this over. What else does the map show you? Let's finish with some of this map stuff. What else can it show you? Do you see? I see the forest. Do you see it? It shows me the forest. Shows me the forest and trees. You can see that. The writing didn't talk about that, but I can see. What else can I see from the map? I can see that the lake is like in the middle, right? The lake, the campground surrounds the lake. The campground surrounds the lake. It looks like the campground is around the Pleasant Lake. I would never have known that. Okay? Come up with one more way you can see from the map. Now, we need to add to here though, what do the words tell you? What are some other things that we learned by doing our reading? What else did we learn from what the words told us? Well, it told us what number to call, didn't it? It told us, hey, to call this number to reserve a spot. It told us what number to call to reserve our spot. Make it smaller so that it squishes together a little bit better. It told us the number to call, like a phone number, so that way we knew. The map does not tell us the phone number, right? The map shows us. It shows us the lakes in the middle. It shows us the forest. What does the writing tell you? So remember, as good readers, we have to look at both the text and the map. We can't ignore the map because the map can show us some really cool things, like all this good stuff here. And the words can tell us some really important information too. I want you to finish what else the words tell you about. Come up with 2 more things the words tell you. I see. Hey, what about how many minutes away it is? That's important, right? And Mount George. And see if you can come up with one more thing the map shows you. What else does the map show you? Does it show you the highway? Ooh, that's interesting. Does it have their compass rose there to help you? When we as readers are reading any type of nonfiction story that has a text feature, especially a map, we have to see how that map and the text connect together to help us as readers grow and learn more about the story. So you guys are going to finish this, have 2 more here for words, and see if you can come up with one more way the map shows you, okay? And that's all you have for your reading today. Now, I do want to look at our writing together so that we know that we're on the same page with this. So yesterday you did your story about being a news reporter, and our school was closed and now it's back open. Now today we're going to be talking about subordinating conjunctions and complex sentences. So these are pretty fun because when you have a simple sentence, which is just like, you can see an example right here, Yasmin did not stay for the game. If you have a simple sentence, has a subject and a verb, it's simple. If you want to connect 2 sentences together, you can use a subordinating conjunction to take both of those sentences together. For example, one sentence is here, Yasmin did not stay for the game, and another sentence is, she loves soccer. 2 sentences. But if I want to put both of those together, I can use a conjunction. Okay, Yasmin did not stay for the game, although she loves soccer. Now, we did conjunctions when I showed you some examples of different conjunctions you can use to help you put within words like and, but, or. These conjunctions, I'm going to give you some more ideas. For example, you could use the word because, and it can explain or give a reason. Yasmin went home. That could have been a sentence. She fell ill. But I want to put those together. Yasmin went home because she fell ill. Now I can put those together. Look at some of these other ones. After, before, until, when, while. Now this shows when things happened. She had a snack, period. That could have been a sentence. She took a nap. She had a snack, she took a nap. But I want to make this sentence more complex. So I'm going to say she had a snack before she took a nap. That's a good start. And the other kinds of ideas are although or unless. And this compares or it shows. She'll stay home Monday unless she feels better. So it gives, hey, she'll stay home unless she feels better. So something important, I love this hint here. When you begin a sentence with a conjunction, use a comma after the first simple sentence. If that happens, if we use it at the beginning, we need to make sure that we use that comma, and it says use a comma after the first simple sentence so that we know we need to make it fit. For example, before you play soccer, comma, you should stretch. So let's go ahead and let's work on these 3 guided practices together. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine each simple sentences, so sentence, sentence, and we're going to try to put them together by using a complex, using a conjunction to make a complex sentence, okay? So let's go ahead and let's give these a try. All right, so for this number 1, I actually did it 2 different ways, and I want you to pay attention of how I use this conjunction. Look what I did. The soccer players have fun while they practice. While means during. So that could be my sentence. I just got rid of my period and I want to make it complex. But I also did it another way. I wanted to make the conjunction at the beginning. So look what I did. While they practice, comma, the soccer players have fun. So what I did was I took that they practice piece and I put it in the front with while, then they have fun. Because it says the same thing. When you're playing soccer, they're having fun. It both says the same, it teaches me the same thing, but I have to decide where do I want my conjunction to be and what do I think sounds better. So these both could work. One thing I love about using conjunctions and writing is that you're going to have your own style and you're going to make it work the way that you think is the best. Let's try this one. Kayla works hard, period. She wants to be a better player. But now I have because, so I'm going to say Kayla works hard because she wants to be a better player. She works hard because she wants to be a better player. Did you see how I just got rid of that period and I put that conjunction there? And let's try number 3. Milo was on a team. He got hurt. Milo was on the team until he got hurt. I could have said until he got hurt, Milo was on the team, but I like Milo was on the team until he got hurt. So do you see how I can combine each of these simple sentences to make a complex sentence? And I use the conjunction. So what you're going to do is you have 5 questions, actually 4. Whew, I almost said 5. You only have 4 questions. And you are going to have to pick the sentence that correctly combines each simple sentence into a complex. So make sure you reach each of these. So here's the question. The game had already begun. We arrived. How can I take those simple sentences together and put them to be complex? I want you to pick the one that you think makes the most sense. It's really important, my friends, is that you don't just guess. You have to read each and every one and see which one uses the conjunction correctly. Okay, so this is going to be a lot of slashing the trash. Get rid of those sentences that sound weird. You're like, that's not right. That's going to help you today. All right, good luck. There's only 4. Okay, so you guys are going to rock this. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.